Oh my God. There is a rodent in my kitchen. Who
let this guy in here? How did you get in here? How did you do it? How did you get in here, man? A little puppy dog. I love you. Oh please. Oh please.
He's pushing me away.
I love you. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. I got a little haircut. You mad? I got a little one. Ooh, just a little haircut. Oh, just a little one. Don't get mad. Just a little haircut.
I was waiting for him to attack.
Oh, this is a Swedish massage. Oh. All done. Oh, you're brushing the table? That's so nice.
This is a repeat. I think I've made this every year for 3 years. It is one of my favorite recipes. And if I'm being honest, I think part of me is making the scones because I am craving them. They are very yummy. They're pumpkin scones. I believe the original, it's Sally. I think Sally bakes. This is her recipe. I've changed it a little bit. So if it's bad, don't blame her. I've changed it. But I didn't tell you guys to freeze your butter, did I? No. Okay, that's fine. Your butter doesn't have to be frozen, but your butter cannot, it's just said cold. Okay, yeah, it cannot be room temperature. Mine is a little warm, so I'm gonna freeze mine real quick. I'm just gonna throw it in the freezer. Okay, I'm just gonna hand mix today. So it's an option to use a mixer for the record, but I'm gonna hand mix. All right, we're gonna get our dry ingredients first, so let's get a medium bowl. This isn't a very big recipe. We're also going to preheat our oven to 400, okay? Dry ingredients. It's been a while since we've done a baking stream. Maybe some of you are new. Dry ingredients are things that are dry. The only exception that is usually confusing to people is sugar. Sugar is wet because when you put it in the oven, it melts, right? Sugar melts. It turns into a syrup. It's just a way to separate everything to make sure that they all get combined evenly. We're gonna get 2 cups of flour into this bowl. And usually your biggest cup when it comes to baking, if your stuff is too dry, if your stuff is too wet, is usually measuring your flour wrong. You don't pack it in. So sometimes people think like, okay, I scoop and I just shove it in there and I build a little sandcastle. Don't do that. You're getting too much flour. The best way to do it is it's loose flour. You just scoop and then just level it off. Level it off the top. You're not pushing anything, okay? If you're really stressed about it, then you can use a spoon to scoop and just fill that bitch up, or use a scale. Yes, but this is for beginners. 2 cups of flour in our dry ingredient bowl. So this is our dry ingredient, okay? All right, do a teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda. Let's say that's a half. I feel good about it. Let's do our salt. Half a teaspoon of salt. Half a teaspoon of salt. Now we're gonna get all of our powders. Super fun. So we're gonna add our cinnamon, ginger, cloves, and nutmeg into here. So a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. I like to go heavy on my seasonings, so feel free to go a little heavy. If we do pumpkin spice, how much? If you do pumpkin spice, you do not need to add other spices. I would do a full tablespoon of pumpkin spice. So there's my cinnamon, my nutmeg. If you wanna do something crazy, take a little bit of nutmeg and put it on your tongue. It'll make your tongue numb. Kind of fun. Our cloves is 3/4 of a teaspoon. And ginger, we're gonna do 3/4 of a teaspoon. So this should be all of our dry ingredients. We should be done. Now you're just gonna take a fork and let's just mix those together. I'm not using any mixers today. You can use a mixer if you want. I don't feel like it. So what if my fork is not gold? Then you're poor. Ew. This is from Target, everybody. Now we're gonna do our wets. Wet ingredients, we need a large egg. Okay. We're gonna do 3 tablespoons of heavy cream in with our egg. Then we're gonna do a tablespoon of molasses. No. Oh. Teaspoon of this, or tablespoon, sorry. If you don't have molasses, honey is fine here. Dark Caro syrup is fine here. Maple syrup that we already have is fine here. It just takes out some of the bitterness that kind of counteracts all the sweetness, but it's fine if you don't have it, because molasses is kind of hard to find sometimes. Vanilla extract, we're gonna do 2 teaspoons. We've got an egg, heavy cream, molasses, vanilla extract in here. We're gonna add our sugar. If you have light brown sugar, is that okay? Yes, it's okay. Brown sugar is your exception. You do want to push brown sugar. You want to make a sand castle with brown sugar. It's the only item you ever do it. Light or dark, preferably dark because it has more molasses, and since we're using that molasses feeling, or that molasses flavoring, then it's fun to amplify that. But as you can see, mine is a mix of light and dark because we just threw it in here. So yeah, but you want to make sure you pack it enough that you get this nice little sand castle. So let's put that in there. Now, this is a fun one. Let's mix this together. Can I reduce the amount of sugar? Sure, you can go as low as 1/4 cup. Why do we pack it? It's how it's always been measured. It's because it sticks together. It's got like more density because brown sugar is technically made with molasses. Just stir this together. I just use my fork again. There you go. Now, we're gonna get our butter, 1/2 cup of butter, which is a stick in America. 1/2 cup is a stick in America. If you have a cheese grater, you're gonna use a cheese grater. If you don't have a cheese grater, you're just gonna cut it into very, very, very small, tiny pieces. We're just gonna grate this cheese. This is the best way to get, or not cheese, butter. This is the best way to get little pieces of butter incorporated into any scone or biscuit recipe. Sometimes I even do this for my pie dough, so. Take your shredded butter and we're gonna put it into our dry ingredients, okay? And we're just gonna lightly kind of toss it with our dry ingredients in here. We're doing 1/2 cup of pumpkin, okay? It's gonna go into our wet ingredients. Oh, I didn't have us blot our pumpkin. You put your pumpkin in the own bowl and then you blot it with a paper towel and it removes some of the moisture. We're gonna put the pumpkin into the wet ingredients. All right, okay, you ready guys? So this we added our butter in there, our tiny pieces of butter, and we just kind of toss it around so they're all coated in flour. Now we're taking our wet mix that has our pumpkin added and we're just mixing that in. I'm gonna be honest, your best tool here is gonna be your hands, but we can avoid that for as long as we can. So we just mix now. This part you definitely wanna hand mix, you don't wanna use a mixer. It'll over mix it. We don't wanna destroy all those little butter particles we just made. So once it's pretty dry like this, that's when you're gonna go in with your hands. So we're just kinda getting this into like a ball. It's very messy. If it is sticking to your fingers too much, simply grab some more flour, sprinkle it on both your hands, and then go again. All right, guys, you're making a disc. So as long as you can pick it up, we're essentially gonna do this, okay? But we need somewhere to put it. Let's wash our hands, grab our pans, okay? I'm gonna use this pan, because it's what I found today. And we're gonna use parchment paper on the bottom. If you don't have parchment paper, you can use foil. If you don't have that, you're gonna need to oil your pan. Grab yourself a cookie sheet. We're gonna line our cookie sheet with parchment paper. This is how we get our scone shape. We're just gonna make a pizza. And if it sticks, we need to flour this bitch. Just into 8 slices. Now we have 8 little scones. How thick should it be? Mine's about like 1 inch thick. And then you place these little babies. Now it's gonna go into the oven. It's going in the oven at 400. We're gonna check it in 12 minutes. Ooh, they puffed up so nice. I'm gonna give it 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. And then let's make our glaze. All right, let's make our eggs, or our glaze. We'll do 1 cup of powdered sugar. 1 cup of powdered sugar. My powdered sugar is gonna have clumps because it hasn't been used for a little bit. Okay, 1 cup of powdered sugar. Let's start with 1/2 your tablespoon of maple syrup because this can get too runny really easily. And you can just eyeball your 1/2 tablespoon. And let's just mix that in with a fork. Keep adding maple. Add another tablespoon of your maple. I feel fine about it. Because if you don't like sweet, just don't add a ton of the glaze. So it was a cup of powdered sugar. Yeah, only do 1 cup. And then so far we're on like about 2 tablespoons of maple. You want to get a really like drizzly texture is what we're going for. If you are a whiskey drinker, adding whiskey to this glaze is pretty good. But now we're gonna add about 1 teaspoon of water at a time. It's gonna loosen this up. Okay, I'm pretty sure mine is actually done this time. And they look amazing. Wowee. Pumpkin. So as long as they've gotten golden and they're all puffed up like that, then you're good, you're done. Add 1 teaspoon at a time of water until we get the consistency we want for this, which it looks like pretty much 2 teaspoons got me there. All right, this is the consistency you're going for. Just a glaze, okay? Then you're just gonna drizzle. I like to do crisscross. It just looks fancier. Just be crazy. Then if you like it more sweet, you can layer some with a little extra glaze. Look how pretty when you just kind of like go all over the place with the spoon. See? Pretty. Okay, now we're gonna let them cool. If you like a lot of glaze, you can just do this. Like you can just do this kind of plop, which is also pretty. See? So, yours are mushy, your scones, put them back in. They burnt on the bottom. Oh, your oven might be weird, Ashley. If you ever make them again, Ashley, lower your temperature. Mine came out dry. Well, scones are pretty dry in general, just so you know. Tara, if yours aren't dry enough, they need more time. If yours are too dry, you could have left them in, or you could have accidentally added too much flour, like when I was talking about how sometimes flour gets packed in. They're also, scones are better if they're paired with like coffee or tea too. I don't have any scones. Where did I go wrong? Well, nobody tell them. How do we freeze the scones? You can just put them in like a Ziploc bag and freeze them, and just let them thaw before you eat them. Okay, I'm trying a scone. Let's see if I burnt the bottom. No, they look good. Yum!
Hey, what are you doing? Do not lick that. Don't lick it. You can sniff it. Don't lick it. No licks, no licks. You can sniff. No licks, no licks. Sweet person.